how to make your Star Wars costuming armor panel. We are members of the Kentucky chapter of the Mandalorian Mercs, the elite Mandalorian costuming club. This is Dark Hero, also known as Daryl Vincent. He's our head dude.
In Mando Mercs, we take a lot of the Mandalorian terminology. I'm the clan leader. First of all, let me break it down. In the Mando Mercs, okay, each region of the country, or the world actually, the groups are broken down into either clans or squads. Clans are if you have 5 members or more who have trooped at an official event twice a year, and you can establish yourself as a clan. When it comes to being a squad, is what we started out 3 years ago. You have to have 3 members or more to troop at one event, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Sorry. Yeah.
And so we're now a clan. Actually, ironically, Conglomeration has been kind of our kickoff. Conglomeration 2010. It was me. That's my second in command, Chris. His commando name is Rex Dorcalevra. And then this is also Ben, who is my third in command. Chris, me, and another member who's not here, we started out Blue Moon Squad 3 years ago, Conglomeration. And then last year, while I was away on business, Chris and Ben helped establish us as a clan by recruiting 4 members last year. So that's how it breaks down by your regions, your areas, clan. And we're Blue Moon Clan because, well, Blue Moon of Kentucky, Bluegrass State, this and that, what have you. And actually, our logo, do you have a copy of it?
Yeah, we got a couple. Well, everybody should have gotten one of the business cards. You'll see our logo on there. We kind of stole a little bit from the, you can't really tell the Kentucky license plate.
Yes.
with the horse head on there.
So, anyways, so that established us who we are as Blue Moon Clan. So here, where are we going with this next?
I have no idea, because you went on with the Mando Mercs. We're supposed to be here for costuming, dude.
Well, I thought a little bit of everything. I mean, hell,
well,
we got an hour.
In any case, what we're going to be teaching you, showing you guys is how to make what we consider quality Star Wars armor. I mean, that's really what the Mando Mercs is while it is Mandalorian, where he looks very much like Boba and Jango Fett, it's non-canon. You're not going to see it in any comic books. You're not going to see it in any movies. Things of that nature. And there's a lot of different ways you can do it too. A lot of people think, these Star Wars costumes, they cost, $400, $500, $600, and they're right. They can, if you want to buy them. Each one of us made our Mandalorian costumes, and they are official for our club. I made mine for under $200, and that was bits and pieces. You made yours for, I would probably put it about the same price, really. I mean, yours was...
I would say between $200 to $250, and that's including building supplies, material for the armor and costume itself. So, I mean...
Now, it should be noted that it took all of us time to do this. It took me 6 months to make my armor.
2 months?
Yeah, shut up. You got nothing to do with it. 2 years for yours?
About a year and a half.
Yeah, year and a half. If you want to spend the money, and you absolutely positively have to have your costume overnight, and you got the money to spend, knock yourself out. But if you're going to build it yourself, it's going to take you a little bit of time, but you're going to save yourself on some money, and I'll be honest with you, you're going to feel so much more pride doing it. I've never been so proud of any costume other than my armor. Some easy things to do for some interesting ways to make your armor, and this is, I'm getting a little rattled here. One key phrase you should always remember when it comes to Star Wars costuming, think outside the box. I mean, I know that applies to a lot of different things, but you really want to think outside the box when it comes to Star Wars costuming.
Well, specifically Mando costuming, because the difference between us and, say, for example, the 501st or the Rebel Legion, 501st and Rebel Legion, they are right off the movie set accuracy. I mean, your costume has to look like it was on the set of the movie.
They have to be able to walk up to George Lucas and go, hi, and if he doesn't like it, boom, you're done. Yep. It's got to look. We don't have that restriction because none of our stuff is canon.
Exactly. So when he says think outside the box, I just want to throw that in and clarify. It's more specifically for Mando Mercs because we are well, not strictly, but we are primarily custom Mandalorian.
But some good ways to think outside the box. For example, this is my current helmet. This is by our approval team, good for membership for our club. This was made by Hasbro. I spent $20 for it at Target, and I modified it. One of our reportable team members took it and went, this is what needs to happen. Took me about a weekend, and it is now completely okay for our costuming club, whereas, you know, some of our guys will spend a couple $100 on their helmet. I took 20. Another good material is great. What I found is, for making armor, is this stuff that we found called Sintra. This is Sintra. Sintra is a PVC foam board. Comes in 2 thicknesses, 3 and 6 millimeter.
You get it 12 too.
You can get it 12?
Yeah.
I'll be dead. I guess you can get it in 12. It's great because it's for your first time costumer. The learning curve on it is so forgiving. It's not even funny. If you want to try and work with a vacuum form machine, or you want to try fiberglass, go for it. But I highly recommend for your first time costumer, if you're making armor for the first time, this stuff is fantastic. Because, and we've got a great demonstration here.
So take
go ahead.
This fairly rigid plastic. Heat gun oven at about 180 to 200 degrees.
I put mine in for 220. Yeah. And you chuck it in there for about 30 seconds. If you use the oven, it's great. Like I did mine, my armor plates, I used a cookie sheet. I just threw a cookie sheet in there, heated it up. About 30 seconds, but you'll notice, give it a second here, you can use a heat gun. Any really extreme heat source is great for Sintra.
Good.
Because watch. Now, give it a, you can mold it to whatever shape you want. Give it another 10 seconds once you're done.
Also, just to throw out there, if you're doing it for the first time, you don't know what you're doing, wear protective gloves. And
oh God, yes. Sorry, we're being bad monkeys in this. But after about 30 seconds of it cooling down, it goes back, it hardens back up again. I would feel completely comfortable going out and playing paintball in my armor without getting hurt. Now, when I say it's got a great forgiving learning curve is, okay, let's just say you've now cut your armor out, and you realize I molded it wrong. Crap. Unlike with vacuum form, unlike with fiberglass, you can't go back. With Sintra, all you do is you throw it back in the oven, you heat it back up again, and oh, hey, look. We've gone. It's relatively back. It's not a perfect It's not a perfect reset, but it's way more forgiving than, say, fiberglass or anything else.
And also, what's great about this is utility knife.
Oh yeah, that's the other great thing. It doesn't take. I mean, you can use a Dremel if you really want to, or a hacksaw or something like that. But your thinner Sintra, you get yourself an X-Acto knife, and you're golden.
Also, as far as expense, I think I got. They sell 8x4 sheets. 8x4 is enough to make 2 full suits. It cost me $30 for that.
Yeah. Again, if you're, you can buy Sintra online. It's going to cost you in shipping. But if you can find a local sign shop, is usually where you can get that stuff. They'll give you a heck of a deal, especially if you start buying a lot of it from them because you're a repeat business. I was with Ben on this one. I bought a 3x4 sheet, which got me my whole suit of armor. It cost me like $15. So there cuts off some of your costs. Now, if you want to go even cheaper, we got
cardboard.
Cardboard, yes.
Cardboard, hot glue, and Bondo.
You can use cardboard for costuming. This is going to take you a little bit more work, but it's going to be a little bit more. It needs more expertise, I guess. Practice.
Patience.
Yes, because you can't just use cardboard, right out of the box. You've got to use, cardboard is your base, and then you're going to use your fiberglass resins.
Yeah, the cardboard is really forgiving because it bends, creases, whatever you want it to do. But once you see from here, it still looks like cardboard. So you still take the time to take Bondo, spot putty, sand it, take your time to actually get to look like it's metal or whatever.
Yeah, whatever you're looking for. And you can buy Bondo and you can also buy fiberglass resin pretty much at your local Walmart.
Yeah.
Bondo comes in a 5 or a gallon can for like $16.
And you'll find that in your auto department.
Our auto department. It's the stuff that people use to fill up dents in their cars. And this is actually what Bondo looks like after it's been sanded and everything. I mean, basically, this is a whole different ball of wax. But you basically, for fiberglass or Bondoing, you're going to use something like paper or cardboard. Cardstock.
Which is actually what that is.
That's what this is. This is actually a version of, how do you pronounce it?
It's a Pepicura.
Yeah.
It's a program that takes 3D models, takes them and breaks them down into 2-dimensional sheets. You can print them out, cut them out, glue them together, and then
make this.
Fiberglass over top of that.
Yeah. This is cardstock with a lot of fiberglass and a lot of Bondo.
Fiberglass and Bondo. It's solid.
So, those are a couple of different ways you can use, materials you can use to make your Star Wars costume. After you got your base done, one other one. Oh, I forgot about Darge. I'm sorry. Yeah, I know.
I'm hiding over here.
Yeah.
Okay. They used Sintra. This was a $15 trash can at Walmart at one point until I dissected it. So trash can is another material you can use. The thing with trash can, and this one, you can't see anymore, but I had better curves on it. But it's been sitting in the bag for a year while I was on business. And anyways, trash can, it's much the same as Sintra. You can heat it and shape it. I did that with my back plate, but again, you can't really tell because, well, it's been sitting. But like right here on the shoulders, I did the same thing. I took a heat gun, heated it up, curved it, made sure it cooled off in the position I wanted. The thing about trash can is it cuts very well. You're gonna want to use like a utility knife. The only difference is instead of it cutting like butter, like on mine, I actually had to kind of trace and cut a groove in and then go back over until I cut through enough that the blade pokes through, and then I could just trace the line. Trash can, relatively cheap. The only problem with it is sometimes you can't find a trash can for your guys who are of plus size.
Right.
So, I mean, for guys like mine and Ben's size, it works great because it curves the shape of our body naturally. For guys like Chris, he has to kind of think outside the box.
Yeah. Which we get into, there's actually different styles of Star Wars armor that you can use that'll actually fit different body sizes. And we'll touch base on that. That's a little bit more Mando specific. But once you've got your base of whatever you're going to make your costume of, that's when you're thinking outside the box comes in. For example, this is Ben's original helmet. This was what we call a scratch-built helmet, meaning he built it himself. This is actually an old Army helmet that was modified with Sintra because your helmet is kind of one of the integral parts of making your armor because you want it to be the proper size. If it's too big, you kind of look like what we call a bobblehead, the Star Wars bobblehead. You just kind of rattle. If it's too small, then it looks goofy. You're
nose smash the entire
yeah, you're going to be uncomfortable because your nose is going to be up against your faceplate. You can't see. It gets really uncomfortable, and
it just looks goofy as heck.
Yeah, it's really hard to be a guy, of like Dar's build. He's a beefy guy. If he had too small of a bucket on, it just looks weird. It takes away from the whole credibility of the costume. So there's a couple different ways you can make your helmet. One is scratch built. Again, that's kind of just think outside the box. Dar's helmet is a resin cast. There are people out there that have sculpted these, and they will sell them for about anywhere between $125 to $200. It's kind of up to you. My big thing that I always warn people about buying offline, we were having this conversation for those that were in here earlier, is you don't know what size it's going to be. You may end up spending a triple-digit price tag on something that when you finally get it, you're going to put it on your helmet and you realize it doesn't fit.
There's some sellers out there that will put the measurements of the helmet, the depth and width of the inside, which is what you really want to go off of, is the inside. Because, like, if you pick up your helmet, either one. But if you look at the inside here, this space is different than that space or the space on his other helmet. Open up the other one.
Yeah, completely.
Okay, they're going to be completely different sizes on the inside. The outside, it's going to be another inch and a half difference, but the outside isn't what matters.
Yeah, like this one is actually bigger than this one, but this one is tighter on the inside.
Because with Mandalorian helmets, the cheeks are sunk in. So on some helmets, and like you said, you're going to have your nose pressed up against the visor, which if you do your visor right, and we'll get into the visors in a minute, nobody will notice except for you because you got a fog spot right here below your line of sight.
But then when you're at an event, say, for example, like Conglomeration, we're going to be in armor for probably 3, 4, 5 hours.
Well, LexCon, we were 8 hours straight.
We were at a convention in Lexington, Kentucky. 8 hours in armor. Now, imagine having the wrong sized helmet for 8 hours. It's not fun. Having the proper sized helmet for 8 hours was less fun. But it still was ended up being comfortable. So that's really, I mean, I can't, I'm trying to think on that. Just realized, okay, when thinking outside the box, electronics. Star Wars costumes have a lot of electronics on them, especially like Mandalorian Stormtroopers, you're gonna see a lot of them. You're gonna go for what we call the Swarzy look, the Star Warsy look. And if anybody's seen the original trilogy, it was all high tech, but it was all 70s high tech. It had, yes, it was a holographic display, but it was a holographic display that had, you know, a tuner knob the size of your stereo. It was, and that's the look we try and go for. There weren't touchscreens. You know, I know the first thing I hear from a lot of people, I'm gonna take my iPhone and I'm gonna turn it into a gauntlet. There's only one problem with that. There were no iPhones. They didn't use that. Both Ben and I have gauntlets here. These are both scratch-built gauntlets. These are really what we call SWARs, you know, a SWARs Star Wars tech. Mine is I chopped up a hand scanner from a place I used to work at. The warehouse was giving them away at a fire sale, and I went, that looks kind of cool. A little bit of Bondo, a whole lot of love, and some paint, and I got myself, you know, what looks to be a bounty hunter gauntlet. Ben's is printer parts?
The other one is printer.
Oh, the other printer is printer parts.
That's right.
That's right. You just scratch built that one. But again, your electronics are, your Greeleys are, you know, you can. I've got a whole box of Greeleys at home of just circuits, bits and bobs, PlayStations that nobody wanted anymore, airsoft guns. Going on to kind of switching over to blasters. You're obviously you can't have a good, you know, Star Wars character without your weapons. This is what we call Jawa modding. Yeah, you know, Jawas, the little, you know, right, that would steal out and walk off with your droid when you weren't looking. Basically, you know, for those who don't know, George Lucas based all the blasters and stuff off of actual World War II machine guns. So, you know, for my money, the best place to get your blaster, you'll find yourself an airsoft gun that you want to mod. That's what this is. This is actually an airsoft shotgun that I Jawa modded. This tack, what I call the ion projector, that was the tack rail that was actually back here. This sight actually came back from a different airsoft gun, and that's something if you look over your resources with your Star Wars, you'll see certain things. Like for some reason, George Lucas really liked to have all of his energy cartridges on his blasters on the side. He really had this thing against having cartridges down in here. So that's what you're going to go looking for. 2 scopes. We have no idea why. There's so many Rebel blasters out there that have a scope back here and a scope up here, and it's like, okay, just go with it.
And one of the, actually a buddy of mine I was visiting in Arizona, he's got the props from the Cantina bar fight, and I think it's Dr. Evazon or whatever his name is. But anyways, his blaster, it's an old machine gun, World War II machine gun that's been sawed down and it's got 2 scopes on it. Why it has, there's a scope on the top and a scope on the side. You know, Han Solo's blaster has a scope. Why would a pistol have a scope?
I mean, never use that silly thing.
Yeah.
You kind of have to throw your perception of reality when it comes to Star Wars costuming a little bit out the window.
Yeah.
Because not a lot of what George Lucas does makes sense. See the original trilogy or the prequels. Excuse me.
Clone Wars.
Yeah.
But we're not going to get into that.
We're not going to get into that. But this is really what we call like I said, Jawa modding. This is where you can get real creative. Yeah, I mean, just, you know, honestly, I know a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll go for, like, you know, the resin replicas. Honestly, we
don't waste the money.
Yeah, you're basically going to take your blaster and you're going to tear it up.
Well, one thing you have to be aware of, though, and this is something that's been addressed with Mandalorian Mercs for the past couple of years, and they finally started to crack down on it about a year and a half ago. Nerf guns. Nerf guns are a no-go. Well, let me finish.
Okay.
They're a no-go if it still has the Nerf logo. You want to mod and sand and just Jawa the heck out of it. Because the big thing is when we started to get big influx at about 250, 300 members, everybody and their cousin was making a blaster out of a Nerf gun. The problem with that is when you go to a convention and you have yourself a Nerf gun that's just been spray painted black, the little kid's gonna walk up and go, I've got one of those. And it's like, well, that totally defeats the reality.
You've just blown your whole image.
What's the word I'm thinking of? The
illusion. Yeah.
The illusion that you've just walked out of the Star Wars, world. So we don't don't deny against Nerf guns, but you have to take a lot of time to mod them, to sand them, to make them look something other than a dart throwing Nerf gun.
Actually, I think I might have some decent, like, here's a good example of what you should do to a Nerf gun. If you can see this, this is one of our members, Andrew. His big honking sniper rifle is actually based off of a Nerf Recon. I mean, you know, if you can tell, you can't really tell, but he's got a stock on there that he carved himself.
That's one weighs like
6 pounds.
So heavy.
It is. You know, but then you took a piece of PVC pipe, slapped it on the end of it, you know, added, you know, put a huge, well, no, there's that. He's got a suppressor there, but he's also got this right here. You can't really tell very well, but this is a huge scanner that he added on top of it. This is what we're talking about. Is, you know, it's a Nerf Recon. I didn't realize it until he showed me that it was a Nerf Recon.
Oh, what was it? The 3 foot rule?
Yeah, the 3 and the 5 foot rule. If you can't tell from 3 and 5 feet away, you're pretty good. But yeah, I mean, that's a good example of what you want to do. If you want to use a Nerf gun, they're great for the money, but you better mod the snot out of them. Otherwise, you're just kind of, you're defeating the purpose.
And if you have a Nerf gun that's not been modded properly, you will not be able to.
Right. A lot of costuming clubs will deny you application.
Right. And the thing about Mercs is, while we are very, very open to thinking outside the box, we do have rules that we have to follow because we are granted this by Lucasfilm Limited. They allow us to do this, and so we have to keep the standards that we didn't have years ago because, you know, 501st have high standards, and for us to gain the credibility that we have now as a costuming organization, we have to kind of step up our game so Lucasfilm can look at us and go, okay, these guys are legit. They know what they're doing. They're making us look good as Star Wars characters.
I think you see it here. I'm going through my pictures and stuff and see if there's anything good.
I remember those.
What?
The
original
yeah,
singles? Those were our original
test ideas.
Test ideas. I don't really have much else. I mean, I've got the. There's really not much more than that.
So, do we have the?
What?
I was thinking about the handbook. Because it doesn't have.
Did we bring it? If we didn't, hold on. Okay, there we go. There's our handbook.
Oh.
I also have it on a PDF file if you really wanted to.
Where? Oh, I see it.
Yeah.
That's a new one too, isn't it?
I think so. Pull it up. Anyway.
Well, I was just trying to think of some stuff that might be in the.
Well, actually, another thing I mentioned about making your Star Wars armor too is you're gonna want to find a way to attach it like as a shirt over something. Like for example, this is my armor rig. Honestly, if you're gonna get into costuming, I should probably mention this now. Get yourself a dummy.
And we're not talking about Chris.
Yeah. There's a lot of that.
He's mine.
Yeah. I say this because they're invaluable in costume. Period. End of story. If you got the money, again, if you find a place that's selling their mannequins and you find one that's the same size as you, go for it. If you're trying to make a dummy on the cheap, you cannot beat duct tape. This is possibly the simplest thing and the best thing I've ever done when it comes to costuming. This is a duct tape dummy of me. Basically, you take a t-shirt that's form-fitting to you, not too tight, not too loose. You want it, you know, just fairly. Actually, Ben's would be a good, you know, to see the fit on him. It's not too horribly loose, but it's also not too horribly tight. And then you take about 5 rolls of duct tape.
And a friend completely wrap you.
Yes, and a friend completely wrap you in duct tape. That's with the shirt. Not, I'm gonna say to you, but you're not like duct taping it to you. Basically, you're mummifying yourself in duct tape from about here to your waist. And then you have that friend who you gotta trust them real good. They're gonna cut you out of said cocoon. Basically, just cut yourself a slit up the back, and you peel yourself out of it.
Don't drink when doing this.
Yeah, don't ever drink while doing this. And then you sacrifice a couch cushion to the costuming gods. That's what we use. I mean, I went to the dollar store and, you know, I found a couple of pillows and I just.
Pillows at Walmart, like they're cheaper than Chevy stuff.
Or yes, or you can actually, if you really want to go to the craft department and buy stuffing, Just go to Goodwill and go buy yourself a couple of pillows and just nuke them.
Or rabbits. You can use rabbits.
But basically, you're going to stuff it to the point where it's you. You duct tape the slit back together again.
You've got the cardboard base in it too, right?
Actually, it's plastic, but yeah, I put a base on mine so it stands up. And now I've got, if I need to do any kind of molding, I got Mr. Body here.
Yeah, especially if you're by yourself, it's impossible to mold things correctly to yourself. On yourself.
After a troop, and this is going to get hot and sweaty, and I need it to air out, it goes on Mr. Body. Because if it sits around, it's going to get nasty.
Yes.
Nothing is worse.
I know, because I've been through some very hot troops.
Armor funk is the worst.
It's a very unflattering smell.
Yeah. It's that, what, I thought they smelled bad on the outside.
Really?
Yeah.
And one thing you're going to learn as you costume, your stuff's going to fall apart, especially in the very beginning. It's going to fall apart. And it's not because of your ability or lack thereof, it's just the nature of the beast, because you're still learning ways to attach it. And as you go together and as you go on, you'll learn, okay, this piece keeps falling off for some reason. How do I adjust it where it doesn't?
This didn't work. Perfect example would be my armor version 1.0. I went to Marcon up in Columbus. I hadn't even joined up with the Mandalorian Mercs yet. I had this armor vest, actually all this armor on there. What I had not done is everything on my armor is actually attached by Velcro. What I didn't do was actually sew the Velcro onto the vinyl vest. I used glue. Well, my body heat combined with the ambient temperature of Marcon melted the glue. I got 6 hours into a troop where I'm hanging out with a different clan, and here I am, a prospective member trying to look cool, and I got plates just going melting right off me. I leaned over at one point in time to tie my shoe, and my whole back plate went over my head. I mean, totally. And luckily, and this is with most costume clubs, the guys were completely cool about it. Yes, they poked fun at me a little bit, but they went, everybody does it. They're like, don't glue, sew it.
Yep.
Lesson learned. Next thing I know, took it home the next weekend, sewed it together, haven't had a problem with it since.
And patience is key, because if you do not have patience, you will get frustrated to the point of throwing it out the window. I know this for a fact because one of my good friends was not patient. He wanted to go above and beyond of what his level as a costumer was, and he got himself very, very frustrated. He did not finally become a member until a year and a half, 2 years later. So patience is key. Patience is key, and trial and error is your friend. Because when I was making my armor, I don't have all my bits with me. Y'all all see it tomorrow if you're here. But I have 2 holsters, and I have it attached to a gun belt, just like a law enforcement black gun belt. Well, the problem is when I put it all together and I put the weapons on, it all started to sag down to my knees. And I couldn't figure out why. It's the weight of the weapons sagging it down. Well, how do I defeat that? Because, you look in the movies, and everybody's got their holsters on and everything looks great. What you don't see is what we call movie magic, where they do something to make it attach. So what I ended up doing is, trip pants. Do you guys remember those? You know how you got the little clips that hang off the backs and everything? Well, what I did is I took a set of those, and I made a set of suspenders that I wear under the vest that hooks on the inside of the belt and on the back, and it holds the belt up when I got my holsters on with the weapons, and it doesn't sag everything down to my knees again. So again, trial and error is your friend, because you'll hit a point where you're going, how do I fix this? And then, as he said earlier, you think outside the box. What can you do?
For a good example, this is my cod piece. The only way I could get it to figure out the problem I ran into was, I'm going to be in this armor for probably going on 6 to 8 hours. I'm going to have to use the bathroom at some point. How does one do that? They never explain how a stormtrooper goes to the bathroom. The only way I can think of, very carefully. The only thing I can think of is I made my cod piece and I put it on a belt that will connect behind me. The problem is that you don't want to have an exposed belt buckle. How do we solve this problem? Sashes and girth belts. Piece of cloth that fills in the holes. They're fantastic. It doesn't necessarily have to be there. It's a piece of flair. It's all it is, and it
just looks cool.
Yeah, it looks cool. And then that touches on a point of comfort. You'll come and figure out is
it's a key component to your costume when it comes to Mando Mercs. Because, and we're just going to stick with the modern era Mandalorians because that's what we're all familiar with. The Boba Jango look. We're not going to touch the other guys.
Yeah,
those are, but anyways, the Boba Jango look, okay, both me and Chris have more of a Jango look,
Yeah.
but for the most part, it's on a blackish leather vest, okay? Now, mine, I actually have bolted straight to the vest, unlike him, who he did the Velcroing. If you look on the inside, I have lots of little pointy things, okay?
Ow.
Well, actually, they're pointy, but they're not that bad because, you know, you got a shirt on and you got
Right.
your Under Armour or your jumpsuit on. But another thing with trial and error you're going to learn, say you go with this route, okay? Your flexibility in this armor is pretty much pathetic because when George Lucas made the Boba Fett costume, there was no intent of how practical is that armor.
It was made to look cool.
And that's all it does, is look cool.
If
So
you think back to your original trilogy, Boba Fett stood there.
he stood there and fell in a hole. That's
So
it.
did.
Looks like you see a bunch of us sitting around, somebody drops something, we all just kind of sigh. because-
Nobody can bend over and pick it up.
Now, as you go, I mean, you'll learn what works for you and how mobile you can get. You know, like with mine, at first I was walking around like a penguin because I didn't understand how to walk in it and how to move in it. But once you get used to it and once you figure out what works and what you have to adjust and where to inch over and whatnot, I mean, I can ride a bicycle in my armor. I've done it.
Yeah, so we've got video somewhere.
I don't think you have, but it's on YouTube. If you want it, I'll pull it up for you sometime.
But I mean, trooping, you find this stuff out through trooping. When you go to a convention, you go to a charity function, you figure this stuff out. Costuming, there's no finish line for costuming, especially when making Star Wars costumes, non-canon Star Wars costume. If you're making something straight from the movie where you've got, you know, this is what I have to make, then yes, there's a finish line. For this stuff,
Sky's the limit.
yeah.
And it keeps going.
The day you're done with this costume is most likely the day you're dead.
Yeah, you're on version, what now, of yours?
I'm on 2.2 so far,
Yeah.
because I've gone through like 3 upgrades.
Yeah, I finished mine and instantly, as soon as I would go through my first troop, I'm like, this isn't good enough.
This
So
is-
you
it's got to be
start
up.
adding this, adding this, adding this.
And you're planning upgrades.
I'm actually in the process of going from, this is my 1.0 armor. I'm actually working on getting a new vest because, you know, this is just shoddy. The vest material, you know, I'm not happy. Well, I'm happy with the material, but I'm not happy with the way it appears. You know, I want it to look more Jango style. You know, I look at that and I go, that's what my armor needs to look like, Jango Fett. You know, and until you reach that level of, I'm happy with this, you know, you're gonna keep adding and keep changing, and keep altering.
You'll go to conventions where you'll meet somebody and you'll see their costume and you'll be like, I've so got to do that.
Well,
And-
and it's, you know, it's a friendly competition thing.
Oh,
You know,
yeah.
you'll see someone's armor and you go, that's better than mine. How do I make
I
mine
fix
better
that.
than that?
I think it's
You know?
Blackbird came out with that.
Oh,
yeah.
our newest member, just to show, yeah, I got a
Okay.
picture of Blackbird. Our newest member, I mean, he's been official for a whopping probably 6 months.
Do you have a picture before or after the bell damage?
Neither.
Either one doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter. This is our newest member, Norrin Fenris. That was his first version.
About this doll?
Yeah, he's about that time. He is a monster of a human.
And this is a perfect example of that competitive nature that's going to pop up when you get in a costume. He showed up, and we met him at LexCon 2 weeks ago and saw him for the first time in person, and both Dar and I kind of went, "Man, we feel like chumps now."
Yeah, and that's saying something because, you know, I've been, and I'm not trying to do my own horn here, but on the Mercs board, you know, if people ask you, you know, if you ask somebody on the Mercs board of their top 10 favorites, my armor is high up there, even though it's not a grungy, dirty, beat up look, it's a clean look. I've got a lot of credibility out of this armor. And then you see a guy like this, and I go,
I'm done.
I mean, and so that's where it comes down is, you know, I look at that and I go, man, I need to scratch that up a little bit.
Yeah,
and, you know.
Oh yeah, when I first did mine, you could see I see myself in the reflection off my helmet, and I start looking at it, see the battle damage, and instantly I have to go back and I'm taking a Sharpie doing this.
Which actually
here.
touches base on another part of costuming, weathering.
Oh, yes.
A lot of people will make their costume and
Weathering is a very intimidating subject.
yes, hugely intimidating.
That's why I brought the copies.
Yes. You know, we have a joking term for new Mandos who don't weather their armor. We call them shinies.
Yes.
Originally, I
it
was
looks
shiny.
like shiny.
Yeah, it looks like it's out of the box. It looks like you've never been in a fight before, which is, there's nothing wrong with that.
And there's two ways that I look at it, and I'm gonna bounce on this. Okay, when I first made mine was actually shiny. It isn't now because it's been worn, it's dull, it's been, you know, kind of roughed up. This is natural weathering just from going to cons, which are crowded and everybody bumping into you.
I say that's what mine is too. Is poor pack jobs. Before I repainted my armor, there were just huge, just scratches. Yes. Like,
an easy thing you could try and do is called dry brushing.
Yeah, we were gonna touch
That's
on
the
that.
easiest way to make it look, used and worn.
Yeah, say it's.
But
Hold that thought. Go ahead.
There's a justifiable way about being a shiny though, because if you look at Jango Fett's armor, it's clean. I mean, it's not spotless, but it's clean. And as a military individual, I look at it and defend it by, well, if this armor is my livelihood and this is what I live in and it protects me, I want it in good condition. But then you get the other side of the coin of guys that go, well, if you're, living in this armor and you're working, I mean,
Not to mention, like, it looks cool.
It looks cool because it looks like, you've been in a fight and you've taken a few chunks and it's like, okay, let's go.
And to go along with it, Blackbird there, he's got trophies with his costume.
Yeah.
That whole
Wampa
thing.
cake.
Yeah. It looks like, when you got a close up
Wookiee
person,
wraps.
Wookiee wraps, he's got a couple of Jedi Padawan
Rainbow
braids.
tooth.
Yeah. It's like you look at his stuff and you go, oh my god, you went toe to toe with this stuff.
Yep.
And you are a certifiable badass.
A lot of that depends on your persona.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like, he's obviously his persona, he's out fighting things that he should not
He's
be
a
fighting.
hunter. He's a straight up Mandalorian Viking.
And then you have Django, who you only see him in like urban environments. So
Yeah.
it makes sense for him to be all clean and
Yeah,
pristine
and that kind of touches into more of an in-depth of when you make your armor and you want to do a character and you come up with your back history.
Yeah.
My guy, straight up urban combat, close bar fighter. He's a bar brawler. Where you get him and he lives out in the forest somewhere eating a turkey leg.
There's a couple different ways you can weather. Dar and I touch base on one which is just natural wear and tear. You go to conventions, you're tired, you don't feel like packing yourself up properly. There's part of your weathering.
Was it the metallic Sharpies?
Yeah, metallic Sharpies will be your friend.
Yep. Actually, good key one right here. I got little divots in my helmet just from the molding. I just took them with silver Sharpie and anything. Or on the edges right where it's rubbed off, where the paint you can see.
Right, but you
so just take silver Sharpie marker and bam, it looks like you got metal chipped away.
Another good way is what we call masking fluid. There's a couple different things. Basically, what masking fluid is you put it on your helmet or on your armor, you let it dry, and you paint over it, and then you pick it off.
Yeah, this is actually more labor intensive, but you do get a more specified look on there. When you put the top base coat on there, the metal look, then put the masking on there, let it dry, and it's latex, so you just peel it right off, and it comes up perfectly.
And when you do it, don't do what I did wrong. You want to sand the heck out of it. Primer, 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 primer. You want coats and coats of primer, because if you don't, you'll get what happened to me. And if you look closely, and you can't tell, like the 3 to 5 wheel is, but if you look closely, you can see the white of the actual helmet, which is because I didn't do any sanding, priming, anything.
Yeah, especially just go along with the patience prep work.
Oh gosh.
3 hours of prep time will save you a month of heartache.
Yeah, afterwards.
This one right here, I've got, what I have on here, I've got primer, silver coat, and I've actually put a gloss coat on there so that way I can come back and sand on the top and not worry about digging through that silver.
And
like you have.
And masking fluids, you don't have to buy masking fluid. There are toothpaste, mustard, basically any acidic gelish paste. Yeah, basically you just put it on there in the shape you want and let it dry. It sounds gross, but trust us, it works. You got a question, sir?
Yeah, I got a question. Let's say copyrights. You make your own costume in your own storyline. Someone took that, but not from your group, but a different group. Took your character, made their own costume similar to it. Is there any rules for under the George Lucas?
That's a really touchy subject, because if it was LucasArts, if it's something straight from LucasArts, that's one thing. George Lucas gets a little testy with stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't own any copyrights to Rexter Clever. the character that I'm based on. So I would honestly, if somebody wanted to, I'd be a little upset with them, but at the same time, I'd be really flattered that somebody took, 20 minutes out of my brain and turned it into something.
Yeah, because if somebody steals your image, that means
They really enjoy it. Now, I probably have a nice, courteous conversation with them and, say, hey,
With a baseball bat.
maybe. Again,
I'm sorry.
there's no real copyright infringement with our costumes because they are unique. There are, when it comes to our club, for example, our logos, things off the Mercs websites, those are copyrighted.
Because they are in a roundabout way owned by Lucasfilm.
They're our intellectual property where they're supposed to be used for just our stuff.
And there is absolutely no profiting at all.
Yes.
The only kind of money transferring between fans or people in general, whatever, and us is money that goes to us, that goes to a foundation that is easily established and found out.
And that touches base on something, just kind of why I probably should have mentioned this. If you find yourself costuming because you want to make money,
You're doing the wrong thing.
You're doing the wrong thing. We make absolutely zero money doing this.
We make negative money.
Yes, we paid to do this stuff. Honestly, for me, the payoff comes from doing a charity function, doing a convention, where I see a kid this tall go into vapor lock because someone from Star Wars is talking to him.
either out of sheer awe or sheer terror. They just
Yeah.
look at you.
I go back to a couple years ago. We went to a diabetes walk, and my armor is this is my little nod. I'm a Boy Scout. I worked at a summer camp here in Shepherdsville, and we were at this diabetes walk. And there were a couple of Cub Scouts there in their dress uniforms. I wanted to say hi to them, and they both just went. And I'm sitting there pointing at my shoulder, and they're pointing at their shoulder because they can't hear me. So I'm pointing at my shoulder, and I'm trying to get the point across. I'm like, I'm with you guys. Their den mother was right behind them going, he's with you, he's one of you guys. And they both just were like, total vapor lock. And those are the moments that we live for.
One of the most priceless moments that I've ever had, and do we have it?
I don't have the code for it.
Oh well. Anyways, I went to a Build-A-Bear, and they had a new line of Star Wars teddy bears coming out, so they asked us to show up. So there's me and another individual. He's doing a black stormtrooper. Anyways, we're there, and the reactions, like he says, you get from kids are either sheer amazement to sheer terror. And I've got an example of both of them. The one that really got to me was this toddler. I mean, she probably just barely learned how to walk. No hair. I mean, she just itty-bitty little kid. Barely kind of, and she had no fear whatsoever. And I've got this picture. I absolutely love it. I'm knelt down with my hand out to her, and she's just kind of walking up towards me, and she has no registration of what I am other than, oh, he's really big. Cool. But on the same token, there was this kid there. He was probably about 4 or 5, and he was absolutely terrified of me. So I had the bright idea, well, let me take off my helmet to prove to him I was a human being. Whoops! That was a really bad choice because this kid lost his mind thinking I just removed my head. I handed off my helmet and he goes, okay, helmet goes back on.
You gotta remember, we're faceless, dudes to a lot of these kids. Another great one, Conglom, our first Conglom, the kid that showed up to the masquerade in Mandalorian.
Oh, right.
There's another great one. You've probably seen the viral video of the kid who went to Disney World and pledged her Sith allegiance to Darth Vader.
Yeah.
The Jedi Council was like, come help us fight Darth Vader, and she walked right up to Darth Vader and went, it's like, those are the moments you live for. Dar and I, our first Conglom, we're sitting there in the masquerade area getting our picture taken, and this kid who's in his own handmade Mando outfit comes walking right up to us and wants a picture with us, and we're both like, that's cool. You got a little kid who went, I'm gonna make what you guys are. Those are the moments that are just priceless for us. So yeah, that's why you want to get into costuming. You're not gonna make any kind of money on this.
You're gonna lose money.
You're gonna lose a lot of money.
You're gonna lose a lot of money. You're gonna lose a lot of time.
It
And
feels
depending
good.
on the circles of friends that you have, you might lose out chances with, a date. So,
Which touch base, the last thing I want to touch base on, because we only got like 15 minutes left and I want to do like a Q&A session if anybody's got questions. Use your resources on the internet. There are costume clubs for stormtroopers. You got the 501st. You got the Mando Mercs.
You got the helmet. We have our
the Rebel Legion. Yeah.
Right there.
If you search out there, you've got the Dark Empire for if you want to be Sith. There's costume clubs out there. Everybody's super cool. Ask for advice. It's like, hey, I got this idea. What can I do? Because there's people out there who have done it before. We don't want to see you guys go over the speed bumps that we had to.
We want you to join us.
Yes, please join us. But I'm the only one who gets cookies. So.
Hide your cookies. So, like I said, we got like 15 minutes left. Did anybody have any questions on stuff that we've done? Yes.
I have a suggestion, I guess, sort of,
Shoot.
or a question of suggestion. When I first walked in, you were talking about using garbage cans.
Yes.
And that for Chris, that's
Yeah.
a little harder. What about if you take like a perfectly round one, slit it down the sides, sort of use the heat gun to sort of flatten it out?
I mean, again, that falls under that falls
outside
under
the box.
Yeah, if you find something that works, like I said, that's just kind of the norm. There's always the exception to the rule. So if you can find something that fits you, if you want to use one of those really industrial, I have no.
Well, no, I was thinking like a kitchen, like my trash can I have at home.
Yeah.
It's just a
really
kitchen
round.
size, but it's perfectly smooth and round.
If
you
it
slid it down the side, you could sort of flatten it out, and
I don't see why.
that would be
yeah.
a pretty
You can
big
make it
size
work.
chunk.
Yeah.
Like, this is cardboard with a little bark that'll work just fine.
Yeah, it's one of those. If it works, it works. There's nothing to say you can't.
As long as it looks the part,
That's all we care about.
Yeah, as long as the finished product looks like, that looks like, oh wow, that does not look like a trash can.
Yeah.
I've seen
as long-
tutorials where people make their armor wrap plates out of cereal boxes, and you can't tell.
So yeah, we have we've got our one suit of armor we call it Legacy, which is kind of segmented. It's more for guys, but honestly, I never really thought about that. If you can find something that's going to fit your body type, roll with it.
And this also kind of leads into, you don't have to have that exact shape of Jango Fett or Royal Fett's plates. You can modify it, you can alter it just a little bit, as long as when you look at it, oh, there's the diamond and there's the spacing, there's the belly and ab and shoulder. As long as the plates look like they're Mandalorian, as long as the helmet has that T-visor and the sunken cheeks.
Yeah, a perfect example of that is, you see the differences in all of our helmets. These are still obviously all Mandalorian helmets. They're just, Ben's original helmet is kind of got eyes. Dar's helmet is what we call a Republic Commando. It's a kind of a mix of a clone trooper or a Republic Commando and Mandalorian.
Yes.
For the armor, here's a great example of tweaking it a little bit. Dar's got the standard Jango plates. My plates are modified because originally my armor was Green Lantern themed. This was
especially with the female costumes.
Oh yeah.
As guys, we have the advantage of we can just make it slightly curved, straight. We're fine. Some women can't do that.
No.
So you have to modify the place to do that.
But on that though, if you're a woman, you don't have to have a bra set of armor. You can have flat standard Mandalorian armor that doesn't expose your gender, because if you're a mercenary or a bounty hunter or something, you may not want to show off and advertise that you're a female, because hey, it might get you off to kick their ass and then take off your helmet and go, wow, I just got my ass handed to me by a woman. It all comes down to what your personal preference is and what you want to create.
That's what is kind of appealing about the Mercs to me, as opposed to the 501st. You make your own persona. It's not you're becoming some other character you see on TV. You're making your own character that you pulled out of somewhere.
Anybody else? Any other questions while we're still here? Wow.
Anybody do anything with actual working electronics?
Yeah, there are a lot of. If you got the
fans.
fans. If you got the knowledge, there's nothing that says you can't do it. We have a lot of guys that have installed cooling fans in their helmets. Trust me, these bad boys get stupid hot.
They also have people who have the voice modulator.
Yep. And so that way when they speak, you hear, blah, 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 blah.
Because
Actually, you'd be surprised though. Some of us, I don't know, not everybody, but some, the acoustics in your helmet, sometimes you can hear just fine inside the helmet as you can out of it.
Then you got Noval, our current Mandalore head dude. His voice modulator is so good you could hear him on an interview on TV.
And his entire armor is made out of what?
Metal.
Aluminum?
Aluminum, yeah.
Yeah.
80 pounds of aluminum.
He's been doing this for 5 years. He's the guy who
Started
founded
this.
Mandalorian. Him and 2-3 others.
Yeah, something like that. But yeah, it's just the electronics. You can kind of do whatever you want. If you like, we've been joking around with Ben's other gauntlet. He's got a switch that's actually got a cover to it. We're joking around about wiring up a blinky light, just so that when someone flips, like, oh god. And you flip the switch. What's it do? We don't know.
And electronics isn't a bad thing, because if you look at Boba's armor, I don't know about Django's, but the two little slits here, it actually has little LCD screen that sits there and blinks little red letters and stuff.
Yep.
I saw a guy when I went to San Diego Comic-Con who actually had a thing programmed where it actually says his name and it says different things, So I mean, little blinky things are really cool because it makes people go, ooh, what's that?
Or you go even further. I know there's one guy that kind of sort of frowned on it, but he's got what he calls his carbonite thrower. Basically, it's CO2 gas. He's got it on his gauntlet that he can walk up to somebody within a few feet and go.
Actually, Nova was doing that with his jetpack, where it sprays out CO2 gas.
So the more, if you can add special effects to your costume, go for it. I guarantee you will not get anybody that says that looks like garbage.
Unless, in fact, it
does
looks
look
like
like garbage. I mean, but if you got something cool and you know what you're doing, it's only going to be that much cooler. I think we're out of time.
We got about 2 minutes.
So anybody else?
Any questions?
Please.
Don't be shy.
We'll be here all
We're the ones
weekend.
standing up front. Go for it.
Yeah, I was wondering, what are the rules if you do score a paid gig if you're in your armor?
If you what?
It's score a paid gig.
Paid gig?
We're not allowed to take.
You can't accept the money. That's flat and simple.
What if we have someone that offers us payment, we give them the information to our. We've got a couple of different charities that we have. We have the Little Warrior International. It's our personal Mercs charity where we give to needy children, or we just advise them to just donate it to a local charity of their choosing. We as a non-for-profit organization cannot accept payment of any way, shape, or form.
And on top of it, it circles back to we do this for fun. We don't.
Yeah,
it ruins the
I mean,
point doing it.
I don't want to get paid to do this. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, if somebody hands me a check, that would be cool. But it would defeat the whole purpose of doing this because, like he was saying earlier, it's about really it comes down to the kids. When you put on a costume and you look like a life-size action figure that just stepped out of the toy store or the movie, and that kid just looks, wow, and they want to take your picture and pose with your gun, and hey, look, this is Jango Boba, Bounty, Power Ranger, I mean.
It's like there's so many kids now who are teased in school because they're weird, they're different. They see a girl dressed like this, oh, this validates everything I do.
Now, exactly. Now, to go along with that, though, if someone wants to comp us stuff, we've gone to gigs before. We've gone to conventions, and they'll be like, we'll explain to them, hey, we're a charity organization. We'd like to have an exhibitor table. Sure. We don't have to pay for these? No. Okay.
No. There's some that are bending over backwards for us because, oh, wow, Mandalorian Mercs, please come to our convention.
So we're not against taking, comps, but we can't take payment. That's if you want to get us into your convention and give us a table, give us some space.
Definitely encourage donations to the.
Yes, we'll definitely encourage donations. We'll be more than happy to take donations for, we're always taking from Little Warrior International. But yeah, paid gigs can't really do them. Anybody else? Wow, we must have even really. Yes, shoot.
What's the visor made of?
The visors are kind of there's a couple different things. Ben's is actually, there's a company called, it's called tvisor.com. They actually make them out of just polycarbonate. Yeah.
65 or 64?
What? 64. Mine, this one actually is a plastic face shield that I got from a hardware store. That I took. I actually found this is completely unknown. Spray tinting that RC car enthusiasts use. Went to the place. The guy said, I explained to him what I'm trying to do. I'm like, I'm trying to tint this piece of plastic, and he goes, handing me this can, and he goes, 4 coats of this will do the trick. Okay.
Show what you did?
Yeah, for this, that's exactly what this is. Sometimes you can use welding visors.
That's what I did.
This is a welding visor.
What they use in the movies.
Yeah, the welding visors. The key to making a good visor with Star Wars costuming, with Mandos and Stormtroopers is
you don't want to be seen when the flash goes.
You can't. You should be able to see them. They should not be able to see you.
This tip from tvisor.com, if you look at some of the pictures in the flash, you can actually see my smush nose behind my body.
Off the tblazer.coms?
Yeah.
So it's
Oh,
got to
wow.
be just right
You
though.
see, if you look real close, no,
Huh.
you can see.
So that's the kicker is you really want to make sure that it's, you know, they cannot see you because ideally that's part of the mystique of the costume is
The illusion.
nobody knows what you look like. You could
Yeah.
be a baby face or you could be the most scarred individual known to
Then
mankind.
again,
Nobody knows.
it's in CRLs that actually have a mirrored
Yeah.
visor.
hmm It's and that's probably the most unnerving thing, and we get a kick out of that. This is kind of an inside joke with us. Is sorry.
Yeah, you guys are. We would have had the room for an hour, and we need to get our stuff.
Okay.
Well, we're actually just about done.
We'll
so-
wrap it up here in about a second. That's kind of a random joke with us. Is when someone's taking our picture with our helmets on, 90% of the time we're under our helmets going. Because you can't see us. Or you know when someone's making say cheese. You know. So that is Star Wars costume in a nutshell. We've got our exhibitor table out here. Please come and visit us. If you want some more information on the Kentucky chapter of the Mandalorian Mercs, we've got business cards. They have our Facebook page and the Mandalorian Mercs website. We'll be here all weekend. Please tip your wagers.
We're gonna hit that joke a lot. Thank you guys.
Not a problem.